know what I reckon, Matt? I reckon having a good captain with all these characteristics is the difference between us getting promoted and not. That's how important this is, right?
So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC. And if you're a fan of this channel or you watched any of our content last season, you'll know that me and Dad spoke about themes and we spoke about characteristics of players and we spoke about what we were missing on the pitch, determination, desire, grit, that passion. And we felt that was missing, and we've just come off a friendly where we lost 5-0 to Paderborn, and it was really apparent to me and Dad that we're really thin on the ground in terms of our squad. But in this video, we want to have a little bit of a chat around captaincy, around senior figures, around leadership, and talk about what Blues might do this summer to fill that gap and get us ready for our next season in League One. So Dad, over to you. What are your thoughts about the Birmingham City squad, and are we crying out for some leadership?
Absolutely. I mean, look at that Paderborn friendly that we watched. It's so clear there that we haven't got a leader on the pitch. I know that's a difficult one because that was like a load of youngsters in the team, but there's nobody in any of the players that I saw or can see that we've got in the squad that have that ability to really. Really take the players, to where they need them to be on the pitch, and we need that leader. We need a leader. We need a focal point. We need. You mentioned like a Stephen Carr before, a Martin Granger, even somebody like Roy Keane when he was like, people don't like Roy Keane, but who cares?
Yeah. United fans loved him, and that's all that mattered because that was the team he played for.
I would want him to be my captain 100%. in terms of he weren't frightened of saying what he thought and telling the players off and geeing them up when he needed to. We lacked that desperately, and there's nothing in the players at the time of recording. We've signed 4 players at the moment. There's nothing in those 4 players that I see as a potential leader.
Yeah, I agree.
Although it was mentioned that Alfie May, he's vocal on the pitch, but that doesn't make him a leader. So I think we have to recruit. We need someone who can lead the players on the pitch. We haven't got it, and that was a massive failure last year.
Yeah, 100%. And when I think back to our Premier League days, when I was a teenager, we had like Alou Cisse, Oliver Tebele, Jamie Clapham, Kenny Cunningham, just a team of players that got stuck in. They weren't the most talented players in the world, but it didn't matter because they made up with it, with that desire and that passion. Yeah. And I feel like we're missing that in the squad, Dad. And we had a video that we released last week about what a good pre-season would look like and improvements to the squad. And you mentioned a togetherness. A senior figure and a captain brings that togetherness on the pitch. They hold you accountable on the pitch. They pick you up on the pitch. When you go a goal down, they don't put their head in their hands. They pick the... Yeah. They don't go... They get more fired up. They get more fired up and you can feel it and they rally around the team. And a couple of players I've been impressed with last season, because I know we're in League One now, but a couple of Championship captains I was really impressed with last season. Matt Grimes from Swansea, Joe Edwards from Plymouth, and Grant Hanley from Norwich. When they talk, you listen, and they pick the team up, and we're crying out for that, aren't we? And and even if you look at the season before last, Dad, when John Eustace had the full season in, and again, these are not world class players. Do not think I'm making a big deal about this, but we had Troy Deeney, Austin Trusty, we had Hannibal, Harley Dean, Maxime Collin. Again, not the most talented players in the world, but they were vocal in the dressing room. They rallied the team up when we went a goal down. All these characteristics that we're talking about. And again, we're not talking talent here. We're just talking leadership, seniority. And when you talk about the spine of the team, I'm really big on the spine of the team. And, when I look at the Blues, just being brutally honest, I think we're a bit gutless, a bit spineless. Yeah. We need... I think a warrior in that middle of the park, especially in the centre defensive mid. We talk about a Harry Winks or a Ben Sheaf from Coventry who can get you on the transition, those kind of centre defensive mids like that. I think we need someone like that with the grit between their teeth who's going to really rally this team and get us fired up.
Yeah, absolutely. We're absolutely crying out for that. And, we knew it was a big problem last year, and we've got to deal with that in the recruitment as well. We need to buy players that are not just young and flary. We need players that are experienced as well. So we need some experienced warriors in there. I'm not talking about really old players, that are coming towards the end of their careers, but somebody who's been around many sort of years, played lots of games, and has got the characteristics to actually sort of lead a team. Because a leader is not just about barking at players and shouting at them. It's about inspiring them. Yeah. It's about lifting their performance. It's about, where necessary, putting your arm around a player. So, okay, you made a mistake. Like, come on now.
Also, every player's different. Some players can handle being barked at and shouted at. Some players prefer an arm around the shoulder. So there's different ways to handle different people. You know, me and you have played football for many years, Dad, over the years of our life. When I was a young kid, some players thrived off being shouted at and hounded, and then some players thrived off that more softer touch. A captain knows how to speak to his players, lead their players, and he knows ultimately how to inspire the squad and pick the whole team up. And I mean, when was the last time we had that, Dad? Like a real good, positive leader who brings us up. It's been quite a few seasons.
It's been a long time, but it's desperately important now that we do this. If we're rebuilding the squad, and we're bringing lots and lots of players in, we asked, that when Blues started to recruit, they didn't just look at their capabilities, they looked at the characteristics, their attitude and stuff like that, because a good leader, needs to be a good communicator, someone that the other players respect, that when they say something, they listen to them and they actually follow what the captain's actually saying. They need to be positive and enthusiastic, so they need to, if we go a goal down, not to put their head down and start sort of, oh my word, it's happening again. It's to actually sort of, start, come on lads, let's, get them rallied and be enthusiastic. And when they have a near miss, that's fantastic. Let's keep going and keep doing what we're doing.
And also, a captain puts the pressure on the referees and the officials, not in a nasty way or a bullying way. But if that's offside or it should be a red card, a captain gets in the referee's face and lets him know that and then that puts the pressure on the ref. And there was a classic interview. Oh, who was it? It was a Premier League ref from like the early 2000s, and he openly said Roy Keane would manipulate the outcome of certain results because they were scared of him. And it's that thing, a captain is responsible for putting the pressure on when he thinks a decision has gone against his team. Because the ref will think twice. It might not make an impact on the decision right there and then, but you'll plant a seed in his mind in another decision 60 minutes down the line, 10 minutes down the line. And that's really important as well. And I saw so many decisions last season that could have gone either way. And Deion Sanderson was the captain of our club last season, and he didn't do anything. He didn't go to the referee, he didn't rally around the players. And again, Dad, we conceded a lot of goals last season, of course we did, but hands in the air, passing the buck, passing the blame, not rallying around as a team. And for me, a senior figure and a captain is that arm around the team who picks you up in those moments.
Do you know what I reckon, Matt? I reckon having a good captain with all his characteristics is the difference between us getting promoted and not. That's how important this is, right? And we need to have a captain as well that could be somebody that Chris Davis and the coaching staff can use as a communicator on the pitch, so they can basically have a meeting with the captain. Say, this is what we're doing this game, and then the captain is actually on the pitch with the players. So that Chris Davis is on the touch; he can't come on the pitch. But he can actually say, okay, you're supposed to be doing this. You were told in the pre-match game, this is what we're doing. This is what you need to do, or you need to push forward more. So it's tactically aware of what the game plan is that the manager's told them. And the captain helps them deliver that game plan. Because there's so many times last season where we looked at games where the players clearly were they look like they had different game plans. One player was doing one thing, but if you got a captain that noticed these things, what are you doing? You heard in the pre-game meeting, you're supposed to do this. Stay doing what you're doing, or and things like that. So you need to be tactically aware as well. And really, really important as well, we need someone who leads by example. That means that the players completely respect them as well.
Agreed.
Not someone that the players think they're bigger than the captain. They can just shove them. Because if I'm the manager and I see a player giving dissent to my captain, I'm pulling that player off. Because I'm thinking, that's not helping my team. That's not helping my team because the captain is there to lead on the pitch, and you can't just basically just ignore the captain.
But that wouldn't happen if the captain demanded respect a lot of the time. Of course you're going to have disagreements. Of course you're going to have players who are naturally a bit more boisterous or, goes against the grain to some extent. But a captain who demands respect won't have players, giving dissent. Exactly. If I really respected my captain, I wouldn't be giving him. I might question his decisions. I might question what he's on about, question his thinking. But I would never give dissent because the captain's the captain. That's Chris Davis' spokesman in the middle of the pitch, isn't it? Chris Davis gives his instructions to the captain. The captain disperses it to everyone else on the pitch. Chris Davis cannot be on that pitch. He has to rely on his captain to deliver those messages, and that's why it's such an important part. And I got a question for you, Dad. Out of the current, I think I know the answer to this, but out of the current squad that we currently have, who would you see as as a fit captain at the moment?
That was my question to you. Okay. Well,
I'm happy to answer if you want me to.
There's only a few candidates at the moment because obviously last season
There's only one for me.
Well, last season it was Dion Sanderson, but we know that he's not a captain. I haven't even put him in my list. I've put him down as the current captain, and I think he can be a good player without the captain responsibilities on his shoulders. The only outstanding candidate in the current squad that this is before major recruitment, is Christian Bielek.
Yeah.
Me,
couldn't agree more.
I think he's got to be nailed on to be our captain. He's just signed an extended contract, so for three years. I'm so happy about that.
Same.
I think he will be used as a centre back, and he'll be commanding in there. He needs somebody strong alongside him as well. But he, to me, would be the obvious choice. There's a couple of others as well. He's not ready yet, but he was made captain for Ethan Laird. But I think that he's a few years away from being that captain. And obviously, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I don't know much about him. We haven't seen him yet, but Alfie May is known to be quite vocal on the pitch. So whether that's captain, I don't know. But to me, this is why I think we've got to recruit, because there's no point just having one captain. You got to have a vice captain. So if he's suspended or injured or gets sent off, you need someone to take his place. But to me, it's got to be Bielek.
Some more senior and experienced players. That's crucial. So they haven't all got to be absolute pit bulls in the middle of the park or absolutely, on it all the time in terms of that aggression, but experience makes a massive difference. You're talking someone in their late 20s, early 30s who's been around the block, they know League One. That, in this current squad that we have with Blues from the current team that are in Austria, that'll do us the world of good. Just some experience, calm the nerves. They know the league, they know how to play. And we know League One's going to be a little bit of a transition for us. We're used to Championship football. The style of football is different. It's more physical, as you say, crosses in the box, they park the bus. If we can get someone with a bit of experience down that level, a couple of players with experience at that level, I think that'll do us the world of good. I really do. And more importantly, the captaincy. And I agree, the only player for me at the moment who I would be confident to lead that team out is Christian Bielek. At centre-half, I love a centre-back or a centre-mid being the captain. They have the vision. They're in the middle of the park. They're in the middle of the action. He's calm. He can deliver a message. He seems, very confident. And to me, as I say, Christian Bielek would be my number one pick out of the current squad for captain. I think he's a brilliant player.
I think you're right, yeah.
The fact he signed a new contract for me, and again, this might sound arrogant, I think that's made him the strongest centre-half in League One. I think he's a cracking player.
If I'm Chris Davies as well, as part of the coaching, I'd be setting it to the whole team. I'd be setting the ground rules for the captain, saying, this is your captain. This is what my captain's going to do, and you respect that captain, So basically, I'm not doing any dissent. You listen to what the captain says, and you follow because obviously the captain is almost like the first line of communication to the players between what the manager is actually saying. So I think that's really, really important. As I said to you, I think we do need to recruit because if it's not Christian Bielek. Even if it is Christian Bielek, we need somebody else as well.
That's what I mean. More senior figures, more experience. We're crying out for them.
The recruiters, the Craig Gardners and the team of they've got to know we need a captain. They must know, mustn't they?
They have to. Although we've been saying we need a striker for 10 years, and we've been,
But they must know, mustn't they? So us sitting here as Blues fans, you guys listening on the podcast, thinking, we need a captain, but we're in no position to actually make that choice. If anybody from Birmingham City is watching this, I know this might seem really, really silly, but you do realise we actually do need a captain, and I don't mean that in a flippant or bad way. I mean it in a way that is such a fundamentally important missing piece that could ruin our season if we don't get the right person in.
Great.
Yeah. And that's something we need to address. So when you are doing recruitment, please, even if it's not the best player in the world, but somebody who can command the team.
That's what I mean.
That's what we want.
Yeah, when I referenced those players earlier in the video, we're talking like our Oliver Tebeleys and our Jamie Claphams, Kenny Cunninghams. They weren't the most talented players in the world, but it didn't matter because they had that desire and that passion and that fight, and it was just brilliant to see. They would have, if they had their arm chopped off, they'd have played with 100% passion and still probably played better than half the Blues played last season. Yeah. But that's the difference, isn't it? We need that desire, and amount of games that we came on this podcast, we couldn't say it anymore. We were blue in the face and sick of
Every,
saying it.
every Blues fans knows this, Matt.
Every podcast we came on, we were like, where was the passion and the fire? So we cannot go into another season, Dad, me and you, after the post-match videos talking about desire and passion. The Blues recruitment and Chris Davies have to pick this up this pre-season, get us some pit bulls in, get us a good captain in, and we need to steer that ship and get a good leader in.
Yeah, obviously football is a team game, so you can go and recruit players individually, and they could be great players, flair players, they could be good defensively, whatever. But unless they play together as a team, it's all pointless. And that glue in the team is the captain,
Exactly.
and we ain't got one.
No.
So basically, we could go and spend millions on all of these different types of players, but unless you've got someone who can bring them all together, it really is pointless. And we're going to struggle without a good captain. This is why I'm really glad we've had this conversation, because I think it's really highlighted to me, even though we've spoken about it a lot, how significantly important this role is in our club. That it literally is the difference between us getting promoted and staying in League One next season.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and it's such a key position, isn't it? And as I said, Blues, if someone from the club's watching this, please listen and please get us a good captain and some leaders in.
Yeah.
And I think that'll make us really competitive, and the odds will definitely be realistic with the bookies for us to bounce back up if we have good structure, a good captaincy, and a couple of good senior players in there as well. It'll set us up really nicely for next season, won't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly what we need.
100%. And as always, Blues fans, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do we need some more senior players? Do we need some more leaders, more captain-based material? What are your thoughts? Please drop us a comment in the section below. We love hearing your comments and getting around to those as quickly as we can. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to check us out on our X page and our Instagram page with the handles popping up on screen right now. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And me and Dad will see you on the next video.